So I'd like to show you some of the features and safety precautions that we have taken here at the middle school. That way you understand some of the places that we have added guards and safety, such as temperatures, hand sanitizers, sneeze guards, and other items to keep your kids safe. So the bus drop-off is in the front. As the buses pull up, there are 2 spots to drop off on either side of us. And of course, as the students walk in, we will scan them with the temperature checker to make sure that they do not have a fever, and that every morning this is done here in the front. So our drop-off this year is going to be in the back, parent drop-off. There's only 1 spot to drop off, and it's right here. So parents will pull down and they will come up along the curb, and students will get out and they will of course go inside. In the afternoon, the same thing is true but backwards. We want parents to line up on the curb, and we want students to kind of wait, and we'll obviously get students to their car. The big thing we noticed last year is some students wanted to kind of go across the parking lot and go to parked cars, but we do not want that. Of course, we want students to stay safe. Okay, so in the front office, as we do have limited guests here, but if someone comes to pick up their child, we do have these stationed around, and these are of course hand sanitizers. But we also have sneeze guards installed for the secretaries to ensure that they're safe as well. So we already know that students get scanned in the back of the building if they're dropped off with their parent. And also on each side, we have the TVs doing a temperature check for them as well. But all staff and employees, they do have to get scanned every morning to make sure they too are healthy and do not have a fever. So each student is going to get his or her own version of this divider, and they will get those right when we start school, and it's held together by a bungee. Come here, I'll show you how these work. The student will come in. There are 2 pieces. The flat piece will just set down on the desk. It just takes a second to set up. And then you have the divider, like so. Now, of course, the teacher can begin class. It only takes a minute to set up. And also then we can have teacher-led mass breaks, so they can have some time to get these breaks on here where they can take some breaths. We will be using a phrase a lot called stand-up mask up, so no breaks if you do have to stand up, and maybe you have to go over and grab something, a piece of paper, or maybe sharpen a pencil. And when you take them apart, it's really easy too. You just kind of grab it here, you bring this in, put them together. It only takes a moment. And what's nice again is that it covers the desk and it protects the student. And now you're going to go ahead to your next class and begin again. We also took some time to get the art rooms ready, because we know that that's a spot where students are going to be working together. So I'll show you what this looks like. Much like the cafeteria, you can see that we have dividers. You can see that Mrs. Johnson did label the tables, and there's room for 4 students to be at these tables. And again, to make sure that they have plenty of room to do artwork, but they are protected with the barriers. So in our science labs, we again have some barriers set up because the students will have to do labs and activities. And as you can see, we do have these prepared so the students have some space to work. You can kind of see how we're already distanced with the chairs, that will allow for some lab time, and again, keeping the students safe with our barriers. And in our language arts rooms, our ELA rooms, a big part of this literacy collaborative that we do have a kidney table where the students come up and conference with the teacher. I'll kind of show you what that's going to look like. As you can see, the students, we have 3 spots for the students, and there's a 3rd spot here. And then of course the teacher would be able to be engaged in the back, and they would have the read alouds and be able to speak with each other. And again, there's a divider here and here, so you have 1, 2, 3 spots, and then the teacher. So this is the middle school side, and all the middle school students will be coming in through this door and the one behind us. And the students will come in and they will, have a seat, they will sit in. We do want them to be able to socialize. When they sit down, they will, be ready to start eating if they do pack a lunch. And if they do buy the lunch here at school, we will dismiss a few at a time. The students, while waiting online, will have dots that they stand on. As they're waiting in line, there'll be dots here separating everything. So these tables, as you can see, aren't spread out yet, but by the time the students come, we will have these nice and spread out, and there will be little circles where the students can kind of wait and socially distance. So again, cafeteria is going to be important. They're going to enter through this and this side, whereas the intermediate students will enter on that side. We also have up on the stage, we've cleared this off. We're in the process of preparing the stage to also house students so we can socially distance. So in the computer lab, you can see that we have barriers in between the students, in between the computers. So what will happen is the students will come in and the teacher, Mrs. Schluter, will lead the students to go ahead and get one pump. Go ahead, students, one pump. And then they're going to wipe their hands. And then, of course, at that point, go ahead and start typing, and she begins the class. And as the class goes on, obviously the students are behind the dividers. And now let's pretend that it's the end of class. And then again, Mrs. Schluter will say, okay, everyone, let's go ahead and stop. And then please one pump. Wipe your hands, please. Rub them together. And then, of course, then they can push the up. And again, we will reset for the next class. So this is how the lab, and you can see every unit has a divider. Thanks for watching, and hopefully now you see a few of the things that we've put in place, whether it's social distancing, barriers, making sure we have different water options, as well as keeping separate in the hallways, temp checks, and everything in between. We're excited for the school year, and go Warriors!